Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 31 of Pettit's Puck Talk. Your host, Zach Pettit, here with co-host Jeff Job. How you doing today, Jeff?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. That's good. Real quick before we get started, I just want to plug Radford, Radio Free Radford social media. Follow them on Twitter at Radio Free Ratty and Instagram and Facebook at Radio Free Radford, or just Radio Free Radford for that. But we're gonna jump right into it. Got a little note of sadness right here off the start. Ted Lindsay has died. Played for the Detroit Red Wings and the Chicago Blackhawks. He passed away today at the age of 93. I never really watched him play. He played a while ago, but I know he was a legend. I mean, they got an award named after him, so definitely pretty sad to see that.
Yeah, I know. This time we'll shout out Porterfield for a good reason.
Yeah.
He's a huge fan. He knows a lot about him. I was reading today that, he helped form the NHLPA, which I didn't know that, and, he didn't even go to his own Hall of Fame inductory just because they didn't let women in for the ceremony, so he didn't go.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Joe doing the Cliff Notes today.
A little bit. This guy's worth it.
Yeah.
This isn't some Philly fanatic.
Yeah. So definitely a note of sadness, but we try to make things a little cheerful here. So we'll celebrate his life today here. This podcast is dedicated to Ted Lindsay. But yeah, later in the podcast, we will be shouting out Porterfield for less better reasons.
Oh, Detroit is back on the losing streak.
Yeah.
I hate to see it. We're gonna add them regardless.
Yeah. But our next story here, kind of a peculiar situation. Was this yesterday that the Caps played the Rangers, or was this Saturday?
I think it was Saturday.
So, anyways, the game went to an overtime and then shootout, and it got to the sudden death round of the shootout. So it was round 4. And Ovechkin's coming down on the shootout, and he dekes to his forehand, and he fakes out Georgiev, who's in net for the Rangers, and Georgiev throws his stick at Ovechkin and I don't think it was intentional.
No,
it
looked like he was going for a poke check, and he tried following Ovi with
exactly.
it, and it just fell out of his blocker.
But regardless, it was it looked like a throw at the same time. So originally they called it no goal on the ice, and actually in the NHL rulebook it says that anytime a goalie throws a stick on a penalty shot like that, it's an automatic goal. So Toronto ended up calling the refs, and they turned the call over, and that happened to be the goal that won the game for Washington. So I don't think I've ever seen anything as bizarre as that.
What do you think of the rule?
I think it's a good rule. I mean, if you got to have control of your stick, I think there's a fine line between throwing a poke check and throwing the stick, but I think it's a good rule. I don't see why you would change that rule, because if you can just start throwing your stick, dude. Yeah,
no, I'm not saying no. I'm not. What I would say is having him reshoot. Especially in a situation where he accidentally does it.
Yeah, but the only thing with that is, if you watch the clip, Ovechkin had him so beat, dude, that it wasn't even they had to call that a goal, I feel like. That's
I mean, in that situation, though.
Yeah. I think, alright, so if I'm going to be honest with you, I think the rule should be, what's the word I'm looking for? Situational, I guess. Depending on the situation.
Yeah, leave it up to the ref's discretion.
Yeah. If the stick had nothing to do with the play, and he's just kind of flailing out with his arms and his stick flies out of his hands.
Yeah.
That's totally different, but in that situation, he was beat, dude. He was burned, and he threw the stick, and again, I don't think it was on purpose, but it is what it is, so I think they had to go with that.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
But, just a bizarre situation that I wanted to talk about, because I don't think I've ever seen that before in a game. That was wild. Moving on to our next story, I want to talk about John Tavares.
I would love to talk about this.
His return to Long Island. By the way, did you listen to the Chicklets episode today, dude?
No.
Dude, they have Frankie Borelli and Sean Avery just going at it over the phone, dude. You got to listen to it.
Did you see what Avery,
yeah, wearing his hat?
No, what Avery had to say about what we're about to talk about.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I agree completely.
I do too.
Penguins aren't my least favorite team anymore.
But anyways, for those of you who don't know, if you're living under a rock,
last star style.
Yeah. Last Thursday was the first time JT had been back to Long Island since signing with Toronto in the offseason. Fans were booing him, which, I mean, that's acceptable. I get that.
Classless.
Yeah, but the thing I can't get on board with is people were throwing snakes at him while he was on the ice, fake snakes, plastic snakes, and then when you see him... Plastic fan. When you see him go into the dressing room after warm-ups, there's one fan that throws their Tavares jersey at him, and it misses him, but... it's the thought that counts. Anyways, what a gutless fan base.
Yeah. Organization should be embarrassed.
That's just trash. That is... I get booing him. I get that. That's all fun and games. Nobody's going to get... I mean, I don't think he got his feelings hurt over any of it, but
No.
To see people throwing things.
Pay me $10 million a year to get my feelings
hurt.
hurt.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But
do a Comedy Central roast at every practice.
To see people acting like this, though, like, that's just a bad look for the league. That's a bad look for the Islanders. Because what were you going to say?
No, that's a terrible look for the organization.
I mean, you got maybe 10 or 15 fans that are doing all this kind of stuff, but it just makes the whole organization look like crap.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, the entire arena is booing him. Like, 15 people aren't making up that noise.
No, but I can get on board with booing him because at the end of the day, I think that's all like he had to expect that, dude.
He put in 10 years there, though.
But, dude, he left without giving them anything. Like, I'm not defending any...
No, that's up to management, though. If they wanted something for him, they should have traded him.
I get that, but at the same time, he made it seem like he was going to stay. Like, all the fans, like, that was their man. Like, that's like... Imagine... I mean, you really can't even compare any other situation to it because there isn't one. But imagine, like, Ovechkin doing that. Like, he tells y'all, like, oh, I love Washington. Like, I see myself here for a while. And then, 3 weeks later, he changes his mind. He's like, actually... I want to go somewhere else. Like, I'm going to go back to Russia and play in the KHL. That'd be different because...
He has a ring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that too. But, I don't know. I really thought it was terrible on the fans' parts, but I'm not really that mad about the booing. That's like... He had to have expected that, at least, I would say.
I thought it would have been mixed. I thought it would have been half cheer, half boo, but, like...
It was pretty unison boo all the way around.
Like, if a guy puts in 10 years there... Like, he waited out as long as he could.
It's not like... And, I mean, he was good there for 10 years, too. Like, he was really all they had, so...
And it's not even like he was selling out and going... Like, obviously, the salary cap wouldn't have let this, but it's not like he sold out and went to, like, Pittsburgh or Washington for $15 million a year. Like, he's going to his boyhood team. Mm-hmm. Like, is any Islanders... Well, they're not good at hockey over there anyway, but still. Classless Muppets.
I didn't... I just really thought it was... I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, though.
Yeah.
Like, where people are... That was like Philly style. Remember when they threw the wristbands on the ice that one year?
Yeah.
For like... Weren't those wristbands for like somebody who died, too? And they're just throwing them on the ice. But anyways, that's a whole different story, but...
I don't know. What I hope for Islanders fans now, Cup Finals, Game 7, losing overtime.
I hope they get smacked. I hope they go to Game 7, and then they just get smacked 8-0, dude. Just like a blowout Game 7.
I'm down for that.
That would be awesome.
It might need Holtby for that.
I'd be down for a little overtime in Game 7 too. But that's enough for that dumpster fire of a story. Now on to another dumpster fire of a story. The Ottawa Senators have fired Coach Guy Boucher amid a 6-game losing streak. I don't think they're on the streak anymore, but they were in the midst of it. They've hired assistant coach Mark Crawford as the interim replacement. I imagine he'll be there for the rest of the season, and I'm sure they're already searching the market for a coach right now. But who even wants to go coach there?
What were they thinking in the first place?
I don't know.
Obviously, you can't blame that on the coach for how they've been playing.
But at the same time, it's all management that's been making all the mistakes. The management isn't going to fire themselves. You know what? Yeah. Like, you'd have to get rid of the I guess the GM first, because...
Yeah, but I don't know why they would do it now, you know? Like, why not
just... It's a little too late, yeah.
Why not just wait till the end of the season?
Well, one thing I read in the article was that... So they have something like 17 first-round draft picks throughout the next 3 drafts. 17. And so what they were saying was they want to fire...
Sleeper team? Cup in 5 years?
No, not a chance.
That's a lot.
I know,
That's a new team.
It is, but... You got to look at first-round picks. They don't always work out right away. Some of them are complete busts. I mean,
I know, but when you got that many, you got a few gems in there.
Definitely. As long as your management picks them correctly, you know. But I know they were saying they wanted to fire Boucher to get a new coach in there to help develop, like, the new crowd, the new people that they're going to be bringing in.
Yeah.
They've got, like, I mean, I hate to see it, but they have, like, there's not a good culture right there right now.
No.
So.
Well, I'm not saying keep them, but I'm saying, like, why not just wait till the end of the year?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
But I guess, like, I don't know, I guess I could see it. So, like, the manager gets I guess you could say his philosophy in right now and get the guys right now to buy in. They make some off-season moves. And then, it'll be a smoother transition into the new year rather than just throw them in the middle of the summer.
That's
and then
true.
deal with, like, the transition at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I can see that. But, I mean, I really wasn't surprised to see it happen. I really thought it would have happened earlier in the season, if anything. Or, like you said, end of the season. But... Interesting for sure. Moving on into our next story, the Lightning have tied the record for the fewest games to reach 50 wins.
It's going to be the new Caps team. Never winning the Cup, always winning the regular season.
They tied the 1995-96 Detroit Red Wings for the fewest games needed to reach 50 wins, which is 66 games.
That team was stacked.
Yeah, that roster is just like a Hall of Fame roster. They did so with a 5-1 win over Ottawa on Saturday. So, going back to what you said, it's impressive, but have they peaked too early?
Yeah.
I think so too. I mean, do you think? I think for sure they make it out of the first round of playoffs, but.
I mean, at the same time, are they peaking too early? I mean, they've been kind of at this point all year.
I know you're right in that, but that's what I'm saying is they're doing it all in the regular season. Like, are they going to have more in the tank when it comes to playoffs? Because playoffs is like a whole nother regular season.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing every other night against teams that have earned their spot there.
You're playing twice as hard.
Yeah, exactly. Guys are playing through injuries. I don't know. I mean, I would like to see him do it. I'd like to see Stamkos get a cup.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, I guess Kucherov's still got a while in the league. I'm sure he'll get one, but, yeah, I don't know.
But they definitely have, you look at every team that wins a cup, they definitely have the roster to do it.
No doubt.
Like, they're stacked head to toe.
2 good goalies, too. Like, 2 solid goalies for playoffs. But,
And who's your cup favorite right now? I mean, there's so many good teams you're not going to get.
I know. I'm just trying to think. Right now, I think I'd have to go San Jose.
Really?
Because they started off kind of slow. Like, Erik Karlsson got there. They didn't really all gel right off the bat. But as of recently, and especially since All-Star break, like, they've hit their stride, dude. They've been playing very good. So, I think I got to go San Jose on that one.
I'm trying to think all the... Dude, you could put Winnipeg in there.
Yeah, you could. You could put Winnipeg in there.
I don't know. They're going to have to be like the Caps, though. They're going to have to go that extra mile this year. Like, they have the team for it, but they're just going to have to... Laine's going to have to heat up because he's had a slow season.
He's been not that good this season.
No.
Remember when they used to talk about Laine and Matthews, who's better?
I always thought Laine was better leading.
I did too. But I mean, throughout the years, Matthews has been much more consistent than Laine.
Yeah.
So I think that one's a no-brainer at this point. But yeah, I'd have to go San Jose for sure. And then from the East, I think I'm going like Boston because Boston's heating up right now too. They've been solid ever since they've had to stop dealing with injuries. But I really just don't think Tampa can do it, dude. I think there's too much hype around them. I think they're using it all up in the regular season. I don't think it's going to happen. And then they could come to bite me in the butt by saying that, but
it'd be what it be.
It'd be what it be. It do be like that sometimes. But yeah, that's enough out of that story. Moving on into our next story, we got a little contract extension here for Jakob Silfverberg of the Anaheim Ducks. Anaheim signed Silfverberg to a 5-year contract extension worth $26.25 million.
Is he worth $5.25?
I think he's pretty good. He's still young. He's leading the team this season in goals with 16, which isn't a lot. But that roster is
old.
Bad. Yeah. Not bad, but old. Yeah, you're right. But he's got two prior seasons where he got 20 goals, 20 plus. So, I mean, he's about a 20-goal a season guy.
Yeah, and that's probably like you said, if not many guys are doing that well, that's definitely a guy you want to hold on to.
Yeah, exactly.
And if he was going to be a UFA, then you do what you got to do.
Yeah. And he said he looked at their – because, I mean, obviously, Anaheim, I don't think they're making the playoffs this season. No. They're, like, second to last in the Western Conference or something like that. So he looked at their rebuild process and said he's in to stay for the long run, see if they can make another run at it. He thinks he'll be good enough to make another run at it within 5 years. So,
well, he should probably talk to his agent because he's an idiot.
Yeah, I think
make a run at taking Perry and Getzlaff to the nursing home.
So if you were Silfverberg, would you have gone hit free agency?
I would be gone.
But you're in Anaheim, bro.
Dude, you could go to LA and make 7.
Yeah, well, your chances for a cup are probably worse there. They're probably the only team behind Anaheim.
You see what Kovalchuk's getting into. He probably has some fun.
He's just chilling.
Yeah.
He doesn't even care.
No.
But yeah, so he got paid. I was kind of surprised to see him get that much money, but when you look at the rest of their roster, they don't really have any other options. So moving into our next story, we talked about this one a couple times this year, but the Flyers have done it. They've set an NHL record for the team to use the most amount of goalies in a season. They used Cam Talbot on Friday to reach 8 goalies in one season.
Didn't you say they had to waive like 7 of them?
Yeah, they had to waive. They had is Stolar? No, they still have Stolar. No, the Stolars went to Edmonton, right? For Talbot, right?
Yeah.
So they still have Hart, Talbot, Elliott, and Neuwirth. And I think when they activate Neuwirth off the IR, they're gonna have to send 2 of those 3 down to the AHL, or they're gonna have to send two or three of them through waivers or something like that, because they're gonna have to send them down, right?
Yeah, because Neuwirth would have to go through.
Yeah.
Hart wouldn't, because he's like 10, right?
Well, yeah, and then so it's probably gonna be Neuwirth, Elliott, and Talbot, right? So they'll have to send all of them through eventually without trying to lose any of them.
Yeah, they can lose Neuwirth. He's washed up.
They could lose Elliott too.
Yeah.
I mean, even though he beat the Pens in the Stadium Series, buzz off. But yeah. So definitely something to watch out for there. Let's see if they can use 9 this season. No, that won't happen, but that would be wild. Oh, and another thing I saw, they've only dressed 8 defensemen this season. Put that into perspective for you, dude. So they've used as many goalies as they have defensemen.
Yeah, whose fault is that?
I have no clue.
I'm not worried about it.
Me neither. Moving on to milestones, we just got 2 here today. A little bit of a short category. First up on the list, we've got Alexander Ovechkin, who became the first NHL player with 45 goals in 10 seasons. So pretty impressive numbers there from Ovi. Big to see. You got to appreciate watching him. He's a generational talent. So, you got any thoughts on that?
Underplayed the mess out of him. Mike Bossy, take a hike.
And next up on the milestones list, we have Patrick Hornquist. He's got 700 games played, which is the second most for any player drafted last overall.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
I don't know how somebody's played more games being drafted last.
Yeah, I don't remember who the name was either of the person who's played more, but that's definitely pretty crazy.
Would you rather get drafted last or go undrafted?
I'd rather go undrafted.
Just hop in next year.
Yeah, because when you get drafted last, that's just like a bad look, I mean, you still got drafted, but it's like you got drafted last.
Yeah, now for Hornquist, it's a humble brag.
Yeah, for real. But I mean, coming in undrafted, you're like, yeah, y'all don't even know me, but I'm about to tear it up.
And you don't have to do the combine.
Yeah, that too. All right, moving into injuries. Small list here today as well. Riley Nash of the Columbus Blue Jackets is day-to-day with an undisclosed injury. Brian Boyle of Nashville is day-to-day with a lower body injury. Nico Hischier of the New Jersey Devils is day-to-day with an undisclosed injury. And Jacob Voracek of Philadelphia is day-to-day with a lower body injury.
I'm pretty sure, this has been an ongoing injury, but I'm pretty sure Hall's out for the year.
Yeah.
He just had knee surgery.
Yeah, that's bad. But
so, fantasy people out there, I think it was Clay that snagged him from me. That's on you.
Yeah, I had him when I was still playing fantasy, and I just kept him on my IR, but that was, weeks ago, the last time I set my lineup, so I'm not too worried. I'm probably in last place now.
No, well, I'm in the league, so probably not.
Oh, and Sean's in the league, too, so I'm probably straight as a street, actually. All right, so moving into who's hot and who's not.
Porterfield's favorite category.
Hey. On the hot list, we got Arizona on a 6-game winning streak, 8-2-0.
Shout out John.
Shout out Bissonnette too.
John's favorite team on Tuesdays and Fridays.
For real, wearing the Arizona shirt. Get out of my house, John. But dude, I wanted to talk about Arizona for a minute. So right now, let me go to NHL.com. I'm pretty sure they're sitting right outside of a wild card spot right now. Yeah, they're the first spot out of wild card spot with 69 points. 2 points behind Minnesota for wild card. Minnesota just jumped them on Saturday, I believe. Dude, if Arizona makes the playoffs,
they'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I would be so hyped, dude. That'd be so good for their organization too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that could really help rejuvenate them almost. Like, because you watch an Arizona game, they got pretty empty stadium for the most part. Like there's people there, but it's kind of like Detroit at Porterfield. Where a lot of people don't really show up. So I think a good playoff run, even if they only get it out of the first round, even if they don't get out of the first round, I think it would be really good for them, and I would love to see them make the playoffs.
Is it too early to look at possible playoff matchups?
No, I don't think so. Not at all.
Who would they be playing if it started? If they got in last wild card spot and playoffs started tomorrow, who would they play?
They would play Calgary.
That'd be a 6 series.
That would be cool. That would be sick.
I could see that going 7.
But I would hate watching that because I'm pulling for both teams. Like, I like both of those teams there. Or is that how it goes? Because wouldn't last wild card plays best in the conference, right? And then second wild card plays second best in the conference, and then it's
if the NHLPA has any senses, which they don't.
Well, I think that's right. So yeah, they play Calgary.
Calgary's first in the West.
Yeah, 89 points. They've been doing it quietly all season too. Like nobody's been talking about them. I mean, I don't think they'll win the cup just because they're so young, but I think they're gonna make a deep run, like third round probably. That'd be awesome to see. Back to who's hot and who's not. Second up on the hot list, we got Carolina on a 5-game winning streak, 8-2-0 over their last 10 games played. Did you see their celebration they did after the last game they won?
I don't want to hear about it,
dude. It was it was awesome. They had Evander Holyfield come out with boxing gloves, and Martin Nook was at center ice with boxing gloves. And Holyfield feeds him like a left hook and just knocks him out. Like, he just goes down, dude. It was awesome.
Carolina's wild.
Bunch of jerks. Next up on the hot list, we got Washington on a 4-game winning streak, 7-3-0 over their last 10. So, I feel like we see them on this list every week.
Shout out Carl Hagelin.
Yeah. Carl Hagelin with his first goal as a Cap. That was I didn't see it, but you love to see it.
Sorry, I was just Voldemort.
Yeah. Big fan of the guy, so you like to see that for sure. Swaglin, as we like to call him in the Berg. Next up on the hot list, we got Vegas with a 4-game winning streak, 5-4-1 over their last 10 games played.
Shout out Mercer for going to see them play Vancouver of all teams.
Yeah, what the? He's probably just trying to pick a game they would win, and I mean they won. It was like 3-0. But
wore Caps jersey there. You know, a lot of sense there.
Trash, dude.
Went to see Beeks play.
Anyways, with Vegas, dude, how expensive have those tickets got to be? Those have got to be outrageous tickets. Like, sitting in the nosebleeds, you're probably paying like $150 a ticket.
Yeah.
Couldn't pay me to. Well, you could pay me. You could pay me to go, but I wouldn't pay to go unless I was making bank. Next up and last up on our hot list, we have Boston on a 3-game winning streak and 9-0-1 over their last 10. Pretty impressive numbers in the last 10 games played, for sure.
Sleeper wagon.
Yeah. Who did they just add? Charlie Coyle.
Yeah, and Johansson.
Yep, true. I forgot about that. So,
but they lost to Nato, so I hope they come in last.
Definitely watch out for them in the postseason. They're pretty angry about that series last year. Right? Wasn't that
another Baltimore
walk by? Yeah,
I hate to see it.
You really do. Moving into the not so hot at Porterfield, Detroit. First up on the list here with a 4-game losing streak, 2-6-2 over their last 10. Any surprises there?
Nah, just wish Porterfield was on here.
Yeah, me too.
Make this a whole hour laying into him about this one.
And then last up on our not so hot list, we got New Jersey on a 3-game losing streak, 4-6-0 over their last 10. They're missing a lot of key players, so and a big one in Taylor Hall. So
yeah,
they're
missing Hall. They just dumped off 2 of their big players. Great management style they got going on there.
Not to mention a goaltender. So
really trying to make the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
love to see it.
But yeah, that's all we got for you guys today. Kind of a short episode. I didn't know it was going to end up that short. Thought we had a lot of good conversation though.
Yeah, it's a great time. Glad we got to lay into the Islanders.
Yeah. Who doesn't love laying into the Islanders?
Yeah, go play in the SPHL. They'll still have better fans than your garbage organization.
Anyways, though, thank you guys for listening, and as always, we're signing off. We love you.
And you love us too.
Have a good night, everyone.